Here in Venezuela, the reality has been almost the same for everyone, even if in one way or another, each person takes it in a very different and particular way. But we have a common reality here, which is this worry, this uncertainty about continuing with a government that has done us so much harm, that has been so arbitrary with its decisions, so overwhelming, so threatening. A government that has spilled too much innocent blood, that has imprisoned so many people, but each Venezuelan sees it in a perhaps slightly different way, depending on their reality. For example, me. I haven't lost any family member in any march or protest, but I have lost friends from all the uprisings and failed protests since 2002. I'm also a person who lives in the barrio, who lives in the ghetto, and I've tried in every way possible to keep moving forward. I've never taken the easy way out by joining those groups that abuse, that rob, that extort, sponsored by the government. Also, there are almost 8 million Venezuelans abroad. Many of them also suffered here, searched, tried to look for a better future for themselves and maybe help their family from outside, since from here, it was impossible. The point I'm getting at with is that what I can feel, a huge part of my country can feel it. But maybe a person who has lost a brother, a child, a grandchild, a cousin, mom, dad, grandfather in one of these marches against the government, trying to express what they feel through freedom of expression, that person is going to speak with a different type of feelings. What I want to say here is that I'll try to position myself at a middle point, and I'll try 100% to be as rational as I can and not let my emotions out too much so you can understand what happened here. So over holidays on December 24 and New Year's Eve, we were a bit like, wow, what the hell is going to happen? We know there are US troops in the Caribbean Sea, but everything is silent. There was no movement, just talk. A president speaking here, a senator speaking there. So December for us was like, wow. We thought maybe we were going to get rid of these people who were governing so badly before the new year started. Those were our hopes and conversations, but we had to communicate in a very cautious way, because here, even that part of being able to talk in such a natural way as human beings has been taken from us. Here, if they happen to hear or listen to you talking about anything, and any of these groups that have been organized within the barrio, people I don't know, from what is called the communal council or the neighborhood association, who basically are puppet people of the government, who denounce people speaking up like, look, he lives in such place, his family is so-and-so, and boom, they take you, they can imprison you or make you disappear or change your life in a bad way. These people work as informants who then notify the armed civilian groups like the collectives, or sometimes even cops who are in civilian clothes. And in the end, you don't even know what the hell they are. If they're cops, if they're civilians, if they're part of the militia, you don't know. But mostly the ones that cause a bit more terror in the barrios are the collective groups. They go knocking on doors, they pull you out, they take you by force and put you in a patrol car, whatever vehicle, and that's it. The collectives have been civilian groups armed by the government, since there's like an international law that if the state attacks the people in a way like their human rights are being violated, they can receive international sanctions. So here they strategically did that to create armed civilian groups so the government can say, ah, look, it's just a civilian group against other civilians. There's nothing here that has to do with the state, but no, it's not like that. They're created by the government and are above the law. They rob, extort, kidnap, they do whatever they want. Even more than the cops themselves who studied, had to have psychological tests. You know, they're like thugs hanging around, maybe delinquents or very frustrated people who through violence maybe see an opportunity to do their misdeeds ordered by the government, and they do whatever they want in the barrios with unarmed and innocent people who sometimes only have 1 or 2 meals per day because they can't even have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Those are the type of injustices that add up, and people feel a lot of anger, a lot of rage, like they feel tied up at the tongue, at the arms, and powerless. Everything the collectives do is illegal, but the government knows and sponsors everything they do. And well, that's the suffering that sometimes the Venezuelan has day to day.